Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Song Radio Show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones. And today's topic, I'm going to get right back into this older woman, known as the old succubus. So the title of this video is going to be The Older Woman is Like a Revolving Door. The older woman is like a revolving door. Now, when I specify older women, I'm simply talking about the older women who are from the late baby boomers to the Gen Xers. Why? Because these older women, and I'm going to say between, let's say, 37 and 64, these are the ones who have seen the most divorces. These are the ones who are teaching their children. These are the ones who are still raising their children. And these are the ones who have been heavily indoctrinated with a high dose of feminist Marxism. These are the ones who have been married and divorced themselves. These are the ones who have had children out of wedlock. And these are the ones who are the most disrespectful, especially to each other. That's right. Women in general don't like each other. Now, before I integrate that part, when I talk about the revolving door, I'm talking about her life's decisions. Because when it comes to this older woman, she was at her best when she was younger. But because feminism in college, because a number of these women have gone to college, she listened to some of these feminist professors who taught her that men were bad. And these feminist professors told her that it was okay to sleep around. And a number of these older women, when they were younger and they were at their best, they weren't looking to settle down. They were looking to have fun. Some of them got pregnant. Some of them didn't. Some of them decided to finish college and get a career. Okay, that's great. But the point that I'm making here is a number of these older women weren't taught how to be wives or mothers. Now, you have to look at the conditions of the family backgrounds because that really tells all about a person. Now, you can change, but generally, if a person comes from dysfunction, person's going to end up being dysfunctional. Now, a number of these older women saw their moms have revolving door partners while they were children. These moms didn't care about their children. These older grandmothers who are the older woman's or were the older woman's mom at that time. And even sons, they saw this behavior as well. And remember something, children emulate what they see their parents doing. But a number of these older women's moms didn't love their children like they said they did because these older women's moms, some of them were pimping their children out for money. A number of these older women's moms lived on welfare. They lived in the projects. They lived in a trailer park. Some of them did go to college. Some of them didn't. But regardless of what their life is, the family background was a dysfunctional one for the current older women now. And also some of these older women were molested by a family member. And one aspect, I see it in every community, is that some of these older women were single moms. And they themselves had a revolving door of men going in and out of their lives. In fact, some of these older moms' boyfriends and some of these current older women who had boyfriends Some of these boyfriends were molesting their own children, and some of these mothers knew it. But a lot of these moms, they took up for the boyfriend instead of their children. You're talking about not loving your daughters? Well, some of these older moms did not love their daughters. I was in Wichita Falls, Texas back in 1994 when I was stationed at Shepherd Air Force Base. And I'd go into the enlisted or the officers club to have a glass of wine or to get some lunch or dinner. And they would have the same type of women come up in that club every day because it was on an Air Force base. And there was one particular one in there who had 4 daughters. And she was pimping her 4 daughters out to bring money into the household because this mother was too lazy to do something for herself. So she utilized her children. Now, that's not talked about, but you have a number of mothers who are using their daughters so they can stay on the welfare plan. And what they've done, these older mothers, they have taught their daughters the welfare mindset. Is that loving your daughters? No, that's not loving your daughters, but a number of individuals on YouTube don't talk about that. You have a number of mothers who partook into the molestation of their children, although they weren't directly involved. It's like you robbing a bank, okay? Yes, the person who actually did the crime is going to get more time, but if you drive the getaway car, you are part of the crime. And when it comes to a number of these older women, they have allowed their children to be molested, not just by boyfriends, but also by stepfathers. And this is why a number of women have to be careful who they let in and out of their life. Because if your daughters and your sons see that you're going around hoeing, they're going to do the same thing. And you can't call them on it because you did it. A number of these older women were also involved with drugs, alcoholism. They were also violent. Where did they learn it from? They learned it from the environment that they grew up. And again, I am not talking about individuals who come from the hood, because I can tell you right now, when I watch iDiscovery, a lot of those older women who commit the crimes, and they had their daughters commit crimes as well, came from decent neighborhoods. Remember, the ghetto or the projects is up here, because you can live in the suburb and still be ghetto. Don't let that fool you. A lot of individuals think because you don't live in the projects or you don't live in the ghetto where you see blighted buildings, you can't be ghetto. But moving on, I digress. This older woman, she's been allowed to assess power by being an elected official in government. She pushes her feminist nonsense. And a lot of these young girls believe that nonsense because it makes them feel good. You have all these TV shows. In fact, in September, the Black Girls Rock comes on BET. Now, I've seen that before, and it's more of a feel-good show for aspiring black women. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with having a career. There's nothing wrong with doing something for yourself. But when you, as an older woman, are teaching younger women that they can compete with men, you're failing these young girls. Now, again, let me put this out here to be clear, crystal clear. I do not hate older women. I don't hate women, period. When I come here on YouTube, I am simply looking at their behavior, because their behavior is destructive. And these younger women are learning, just like the older women, how to be bitter, just like older women. Again, children emulate what they see. And there are a number of older women here in the Western society who believe in free sex. A number of these older women are party girls. A number of these older women have had children. And if you think about this, when it comes to children, some of them didn't want to deal with children when they were young. So they put their children in the freezer. They tried to drown their children. They've done a lot of violent acts against children themselves, but these older women have been prosecuted for it. And again, something else that this older woman has caused, and it's a problem, the Me Too movement. Now, the intent started out good, but see, the problem with the Me Too movement, it doesn't do anything about due process. It's all based on accusation. Now, a number of these older women who were in Hollywood 30, 40, 50 years ago were dealing with men who were perverts themselves. They used these women for money. But what happened with these older women, when they weren't getting more roles or any more roles in Hollywood, they felt they could go out and simply accuse a man of sexual harassment. And when they did that, they formed the Me Too movement. In fact, the Me Too movement was started by a black woman. In fact, her son had some problems. And you don't see her in the limelight anymore. It's good for the goose is good for the gander. But this is the problem of the older woman. She doesn't take responsibility for her actions. You know, when you accuse somebody of rape or sexual assault and you take them down for their money, and at the end of the day it really didn't happen, should something happen to you, yeah, you should get to 25 years. A lot of these older women have ruined men's lives. Now, did some of the men deserve what they got if they did it? Absolutely. But a number of men were accused. There was no due process. And if you look at Hollywood with a number of these older women, they're pushing the homosexual agenda. Because I was watching Queen Sugar, and Oprah produced Queen Sugar. And they had a couple of lesbian scenes by an old succubus. And what's this with the older women wearing the nose rings? I've been seeing that for a while. They're also wearing the colored hair. They're also dressing like they want to go out partying, even the ones who go to church. Now, I can remember we used to use the term hoochie back in the 1990s when these older women now were in their 20s. Well, some of these older women are trying to compete with their children for the same types of men and women. And at the end of the day, these older women just haven't grown up. Many of them are narcissistic. Many of them are bipolar. And this is what I'm talking about, the revolving door. They have a lot of baggage, and they can turn that baggage on and off at any time. And when you date a number of these older gals, and you see these changes, you're going to be stressed out. Because a number of these older women are highly medicated. They're filled with depression. You talk about being fake. A number of older women are fake. And I know on the black sector of YouTube in the manosphere, I'm not part of the manosphere. I deal with red pill and MGTOW content. But you talk about fake. Well, you have a lot of white women who are also fake. I've seen them with fake eyelashes, the painted on eyelashes, and they're dyeing their hair. And the worst thing about that is, once they put the dye in their hair and they have a part in their hair, well, their hair grows. And you can see the gray coming right up in their hair, and they have to dye the part in their hair. So a number of men sit here and talk about the weave with black women. White women are doing their act of fakeness as well. And this is the problem. most of this fakeness is really the hoe culture, because these older women are basically teaching these younger women about sexuality in all methods. They're teaching the hetero and they're teaching the homo, because a lot of these older women, they either had experiences before with other women, or they've slept around with a number of men. When you deal with this older woman, and this is not all older women or older women, some of these older women have been party girls. And these are the women you're also going to find on online dating. And you got to be very careful of online dating, because a lot of these older women who were dysfunctional, they're going to appear normal. But in actuality, they have a lot of problems. This is why they hide on online dating. In fact, a lot of these women on online dating, particularly there's a site out there called Badoo. The site is really a social site. It's not a dating site. It's in between a Plenty of Fish and a Tinder. But a lot of these older women, you can tell they have problems. Many of them say they're in a complicated relationship. Well, a lot of them aren't loyal on online dating. You're going to find a lot of baby mamas. You're going to find a lot of smokers. You're going to find a lot of individuals who have health issues. You're going to find individuals who currently have somebody in their life. Some of these older women on these dating sites don't know how to communicate properly. In fact, they're going to give you one-word answers all the time. And when you talk to them on the phone, you may talk to them one time. These individuals aren't interested in relationships. They're interested in still maintaining their status of being children. And that's my next point. A number of these older women are still children themselves. Something happened to them. Again, they had post-traumatic stress disorder. And this came from a boyfriend, a father, some male, and even some female. Believe it or not, you have females out here who have molested children as well. Again, society makes men out to be the molesters, but lets women get away with the same crime. And women are allowed to use anything as an excuse to get away with the same crime. And so these older women pitch all this equality, but they don't want equality. They want to be the supreme gender. They have a matriarchal mindset. And these older women are very delusional. A lot of their talking points come off what they see on TV. Again, they're solipsistic. They're not objective. Their emotions kick in and take over, and their emotions take them off what the real point is. Now, the older woman, when you talk to her, can be logical when it comes to a subject that's not dear to her. But if it's one that is dear to her or close to her, you're going to see emotions reflected. And being part of the revolving door, a number of these older women have gone through life not knowing what they wanted to do. They didn't get the proper help. And as a man, they've gone through numerous men. And not to a fault of hers, but to a fault of some of these men. You have a lot of wicked men out here too. I call them the incubus. And in the days, I can tell you, when you watch a lot of black movies, you see a lot of fast-talking dudes, charmers. They would tell these older women who were younger back in the days what they wanted to hear. Some of them would have sex with these, well, they're older women now, but they were younger women then. And what he would tell her was what she wanted to hear. Once he has sex with her, he dumps her. And there are a lot of dudes like this. And a lot of these dudes were older dudes. And these older dudes took these younger women's lives, took their virginity from them, impregnated them. Because these older dudes were nothing but pimps, gigolos, Don Juans. They thought nothing of it. And the problem is, this older woman, when she was younger, as she got older, she kept dating these same types of guys. And when she continued to date and have sex with these types of guys, she became more angry and bitter. And this is what she is teaching her daughter when it comes to don't need a man. Well, they say that because a lot of these women, older women, really base their relationship situation of others off of their situation. And this is why when you have a conversation with the older woman, she tends to always use her experience. Well, you can't use the exception. In fact, every woman wants to be the exception, but every woman is not the exception. But when you deal with this older woman out here, all of them aren't basket cases, but a number of them are basket cases. They seem normal on the surface until you have a conversation with them. And many of them like to hide behind their families. They like to hide behind their degrees. You have a number of them who are working in human resources on jobs. They want to get other women in positions. They want to phase men out. And a number of these older women never taught their daughters about negotiation when it came to salary for jobs because they don't know anything about negotiations. They don't know how to buy a car. A lot of these older women, even with degrees, they have a lot of debt. Well, they didn't teach their daughters anything about finances because they want to compete with their daughters. In fact, when it comes to these older women, they don't like other older women, especially if the older woman has a man. If you watch shows, and it still comes on, Tracy Ellen Ross played in it, Girlfriends, Living Single, Sex in the City. These are the shows that came out in the 90s when these women who are older now were in their 20s. And they believed that sleeping around, being independent, made them a woman. They were trying to be like men. The bottom line is a woman cannot be like a man. And this is what you're seeing right now with the older women. They are promoting a matriarchal society. And that matriarchal society, they're promoting masculinity when it comes to women, and they want to effeminize boys. If you look at school, a lot of your administrators who are in top positions in the education system are women. And they push their feminist agenda. They want boys on Ritalin. These older women just don't respect men. They don't respect men because they had problems with men. They believe that men are less than they are. Even older women who don't have anything going for themselves. They believe because a man is a man, they're all the same. They don't check out individual decent men because they don't want decent men, because they want to control the relationship. And if you see the younger woman who's disrespectful, that's because she got it from the older woman. And again, when I say revolving door, this older woman has had so many life changes, and she continues to have life changes. She is not stable. She may be stable in one moment, but she'll change from the next moment. And when I talk about the older woman being a succubus, she not only feeds off of sexual energy from men, she feeds off of energy from church, education, government, private sector jobs. She feeds from all of these institutions to make her feel good. I mean, you had a senator from Hawaii, and I can't remember her name, Democrat. She said all the men need to sit down and shut up. Well, these women are in power, and these women are pushing their agenda, and these are older women. And a lot of these older women, if you look at them, particularly politically, the Democratic women, they look very masculine. In fact, again, going back to the manosphere, they talk a lot about black women, but look at the white women when they get older. They like to cut their hair off and they look even more masculine than some African American women. But you have a number of women who are older. They're getting their tattoos. They have their colored hair. They have their earrings. They're still going out listening to the same type of music as these younger women. It's because this older woman let her youth go by the wayside. She still thinks she has got a high sexual market value because she dresses like a slut. At the end of the day, if you've had children out of wedlock, if you've had a lot of men in your life, old men will sleep with you, but they're not going to wife you up. And this older woman seems to not even care. She doesn't care about herself. She doesn't care about anybody. But to have fun. She's still stuck on being a child. And this is why you can't have a conversation with a number of these older women. And when I talk about the revolving door, it's the wishy-washy thinking. And some of you guys who are dating older women wonder why she goes from one mood to the next. Well, some of them may not have gone through menopause. Some of them have gone through menopause. You have to deal with a lot of mood changes when you deal with some of these older women. Again, these older women are watching TV. They're producing TV shows. These older women are involved with putting lesbianism into the culture because the feminist movement started from lesbian women as well. I mean, these women are just teaching the younger women how to be bitter just like they are because it's all about control with these older women. Now, again, all older women aren't bad. But if you look at what's happening on television, a lot of these older women who are in positions of executives make a lot of decisions on what to put in these television shows. And this is why you see a lot of the lesbian scenes now. Now, you did see some gay scenes in Empire. But at the end of the day, this older woman is basically destroying the culture with her feminist Marxist ideology. And if you look at men, men are weak today. Men cry like women. Men sound like women when they have conversations because today's men have seen nothing but women in their lives. So I'm strictly saying, as a man, there's nothing wrong with building families. But you build a family with a woman who's pure. You don't build a family with somebody who's already been out there. And as a red pill man, I don't hate women. And if you guys have a good woman, stick with that good woman. Keep the pilot light lit in your relationship. Do not let the lust of other women take your focus off of your current relationship, guys, because some of you want other women in your lives. Let me tell you something. The dating scene is horrible out here. You talking about revolving doors? You're going to meet a number of women who have gone through the revolving door. And when I talk about the revolving door, I'm talking about sexually, emotionally. You have a number of women who are over-medicated. Their health isn't up to par. And if you get involved with this revolving door older woman, you're going to cut your own throat. You are not going to get a return on your investment. Now, I came up with this acronym called MEET, M-E-E-T, money, energy, emotions, and time. Well, a number of these older women, they just want to waste your time because they haven't been taught how to have relationships. They've been in and out of them, and this is why a number of them are still single. And again, dealing with this older woman. She's not what she appears to be. She's been involved in molestation of children. Even though she didn't actually partake, she knew about it. She didn't say anything about it. And this is why I tell younger women, watch your mama. Because your mama is not always who she says she is. She may talk about the dad, but there's a lot of these mamas out here who are teaching their young daughters the bitterness and the feminism and the free sex and the welfare plan that she's exhibited. So as a red pill man, when I talk about the older woman being a liability because she's like a revolving door, well, she is. You look at her actions. Because a number of these older women don't love themselves. They want to control everything. They don't know how to control their own lives. They don't know how to be women. In fact, you got a lot of these older women who want to hang out with the girlfriends. They gossip, still like cackling hens. And their gossip is over nothing important. Because these older women are still childish themselves. They're solipsistic, bipolar, they have post-traumatic stress disorder, histrionic personality disorders, you name it. Now again, I'm not saying all older women are bad. That would be a fallacy. And for us guys here on YouTube, if we're not talking about women, we're talking about men, we are talking about women. Because a lot of women are destructive. And society has let women get away with being destructive. And on my platform, I'm not going to talk about the men. If you want to hear about the men, go to women's channels. Because at the end of the day, this is about being red pill. And also, check out my Blog Talk Radio podcast. I have one every Saturday. I'm going to talk about how to use your ego today. But once again, if I didn't get everything in this video, I'll get it next video. But at the end of the day, be a man. It's enjoyable. And don't apologize for being a man. That's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. If you like what you just heard, please comment, share, and subscribe. Once again, my name is Leon Jones. Have a good day. God bless you. I'm out.